We're the Litzenbergers, and we're sailors, have been for a decade. We've owned 7 boats, from a plywood trimaran to a home-built scamp to our aluminum baby Tarka. All in all, we've sailed 12,000 nautical miles, and we've been documenting the trip for the past 2.5 years on YouTube and with our podcast. Now we're joining the two together and producing a new way to show you what sailing and living on your boat is really like. Enjoy our first episode! Record me, always!
Always be recording me.
Rules are strict. Do you think that's good?
Yeah, I think it's great. My head's in the frame. Don't tell me that. I'm already concerned about that.
Hi, Fries! We're here in Florida. We have been here for quite a while.
Been here about 3 weeks.
The last couple of videos. So you might be wondering, what the f*** are we doing?
That's what we're going to talk to you about tonight. We've taken a pretty hard stance in the past about this whole concept, where we don't like to tell people where we're going, we like to say where we've gone. And it sounds douchey when I say that, but I still stand by it.
But we're gonna go back on that.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna just make this work, I guess.
We have insert amount of miles that we've sailed here. That much experience.
That's an impressive number. You're probably impressed by that.
I am. So we feel like we've earned the ability to tell you guys where we're going, because we'll most likely follow through.
Yeah, and if we fail, you guys like that shit too. Probably actually more.
Exactly. Our plan right now is to head up the coast to Maine. That being said, Maine, obviously we can't sail there in the winter. I want to get to the good, good bits.
No, that's a good bit.
It is a good bit. Okay. Our ultimate goal, because we have a year and a half, is to do the Northwest Passage.
Let's do it.
To slow the spread of COVID-19, that both Canada and the United States will temporarily restrict all non-essential travel across the Canada-US border.
Meanwhile, Denmark closed its borders yesterday to everyone except its citizens and residents. Germany is set to follow suit, shutting borders with France, Switzerland, and Austria. The Czech Republic, which has already closed its borders, is now weighing a nationwide quarantine. And in Australia, anyone arriving will now be forced to self-isolate for 14 days, and foreign cruise ships are banned from docking in that country.
Travel into the European Union is being severely restricted to contain the spread of the coronavirus.
A podcast about sailing, cruising, and everything else in between. Welcome to Sailing with the Litzenbergers podcast. We hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hey Fries, and welcome to the Sailing with Litzenbergers podcast. I'm Spencer. This is Brina.
Hello.
We are currently in the beautiful Kula, Maui area, I suppose, right?
Yeah, Kula, Hawaii.
Yeah. This is my boat shed. I'm pretty excited about it. Brina hasn't been down here much. She doesn't know what it looks like, but this is it. This is where the magic happens, and we're going to talk about my boat tonight.
It obviously looks way different than our boat where we normally vlog.
Yeah, because that one floats, and this one's more square.
Yeah. So last time we left you guys in the videos, we were actually, we did kind of a visual podcast, but this is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be kind of how our videos are from now on. It's kind of meshing our podcast with our vlogging.
Yeah, it's like our new, what's that shit called with the smash poetry? We're putting it together.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. And this episode is kind of telling you guys what we're up to, because a lot has changed, and a lot of it is based on COVID, unfortunately.
Don't talk about COVID. People don't want to hear about that anymore.
I know. But once we got Tarka on the hard, and we started to look into where we wanted to go, obviously, as you had just seen in the video, that was no longer a possibility. And the possibility started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
So as millennials in our 30s, we decided the best option was to mooch off our parents. If that's what you do.
So we flew to Maui to live with Spencer's parents until everything kind of calmed down and borders started to reopen.
Well, we gotta see what's going on. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how things can shake out?
However, borders are not reopening.
And so I think, don't be surprised if after June 30th, we say that the borders, the land borders, remain closed.
Yeah, thus far, not looking great. But I decided that I was going to have myself a little project time, and I decided to build a 14-foot beach cat, because what is a man without a boat? I have no idea, and I don't care to find out.
The man in the boat. I mean, we have said before in like previous podcasts, videos, and pretty much any platform that will give us a voice that we hate multi-hulls.
No, that's fair. So, so the boat that I picked is a 14-foot Wharram. We'll go into the history of Wharram here in a second. The reason I picked this boat in particular is that in Hawaii, it's really hard to get storage for boats, and it's also really hard to launch them. And so the Beach Cat was the obvious choice because I could haul it down there and throw it in the water about a half hour. Like in the past, I built smaller boats, but they still require launching and more of those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Also,
too, you got sold. You drank the Kool Aid again. Even though you already drank the Kool-Aid with the triangle. That ended so badly.
I don't think the Kool-Aid ever really got out. I mean, like, I still like have a soft spot for these plywood boats, even though I know they're plywood boats.
And then you got on Whippersnapper.
Oh, Snapper, she's a beaut. All right, we did the big boat swap. I'm on Whippersnapper, which is a machine of a vessel. 30-foot Wharram. Boom! Check all it out. Yeah, take her in all your glory. Captain Clay, doing it. Living the dream. Look at those sinkers back there and their dumb keels.
Yeah! I think you got on that, and like, as much as I enjoyed being on her too, I wasn't like sold. I was pretty excited to get back to Tarka and sail Tarka.
Well, like the old school multi-hulls have like such an ethos behind them. There's like a whole cult following. It's like almost it's like Burning Man, but put into a boat. There's a whole,
an excellent way of describing
there's a whole culture that wraps around. If you ever see a real multi-hull, not the Catamarans, the person that's on it is a lunatic, for better or for worse.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they're definitely crazy.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you still kind of embody some of that crazy.
Like, I feel like if you died, I would probably build a 21-foot Wharram and take off.
So we got to Maui, and Spencer needed a project, and I did say that I would contribute much more than I have been.
How much can
I'm gonna be involved.
Like, how many hours a day?
I don't know.
3?
I feel like, yeah, it's
3 to 4.
Okay, that's fine. I will help you.
You've been down here maybe 3 to 4 hours, and I've been here a month and a half.
I don't like boat building. I'm just gonna say that. I love sailing. I don't like boat building.
I'm just saying you may overshot yourself a bit on the contributions.
Yeah, luckily Spencer's dad has been stepping in for me, thank God. But I think it would be interesting for people to know, because we have spoken so
poorly
of multi-hulls.
There's lots of points on why we don't like multi-hulls.
Just call it like about multi-hulls.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna stand that.
I hate this boat. Why you're still in the Kool Aid? Like, you're still drinking the punch.
It's just so easy to work with. So the deal is, in the 60s, boats were very expensive because fiberglass was just coming out. So to have a production fiberglass boat would cost you an arm and a leg. And there wasn't much on the used market. Like right now, you can go buy a production boat that's been around for 40 years and just pick one up for actually free if you really want to. But back then, if you wanted a boat and you were a broke dirtbag, you'd build your own boat.
Yeah.
And so there's a few people. There was Piver, there was Jim Brown, there was Wharram, and there was Carver that was all selling these plans to build your own boats. And they're all multi-hulls because they're cheap and they have no ballast in them, and it's all plywood construction.
Yeah. And that's cheap. So it was just like an easy way to get out on the water.
Well, yeah, and you can nickel and dime it. Like, you don't have to pay for the boat up front. You pay for bits and pieces as you build, and then eventually when you and the missus retire, you can go off and sail in the distance, which very few actually did. A lot of them were just really sad projects that end in yards in sad place like North Dakota.
So, I mean, like, for me, like, what I experienced on our trimaran was that anytime that it picked up speed or the wind picked up, instead of, like, heeling over like a monohull like I love,
it would just rocket forward.
Instead, like, rocket forward,
yes.
which then I kept thinking, like, this thing is going to flip. And, like, and I know that, I mean, countless people have told me that I'm being ridiculous. I don't care. Like, I still felt that way, and I still felt nervous and scared, and I totally lost all my, like, what do you call it when you, like, have faith? I lost all my confidence in the boat, which made the trip miserable, and probably made Spencer miserable as well.
It did. So these boats have crossed many, many oceans, and some of them, even upside down, they get back.
We're recording this after the fact because I wanted to add this in, but you read this book.
Yes.
And it's called?
Actually, no, Capsize is the name of the boat, yeah. So there's like these, like, I think it's 4 Kiwis. I don't know if that's derogatory or not. But these, like, 4 dudes from New Zealand take off, and they're going to sail the South Pacific. I think the intention was a delivery. Like, it was there was, like, a captain and, like, his buddy, and then, like, some guy who's never sailed before, and then some guy who was kind of...
Oh, that poor soul.
Yeah, there's 2 that were a really bad deal on the boat.
Okay.
And so they take off from, we'll say Auckland, I don't know how to say it. We're in New Zealand. They take off from New Zealand, and they're out there, and the movie portrays it as a rogue wave. That's not correct. They're in some heavy weather, and it keeps getting shittier and shittier. And then the captain keeps saying, like, oh, it can't flip because it's trimaran. It's a modern multihull. There's no way it can flip. And then all of a sudden, they end up ass over tea kettle, and they're sitting upside down. And so they're out there for 119 days.
119 days.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, most of the boat is underwater.
What are their living conditions? Because even if, like...
at best. So there's it's awful. So there's one section of the boat that can sleep all 4 guys.
Oh, God.
Nowhere else can they sleep. And so they're all cuddled up, freezing, wet all the time. There's some dissent among the crew where, like, they hide things from each other.
Oh.
And there's some teamwork happening there. Not good. And they all hate, like, there's like one guy they all hate, but he finds the best foods. There's a little mess there. At one point, they cut a hole in the boat and get on top deck, and they start fishing for fish.
Wait, at one point? I feel like that would be, like, the first day.
They didn't do that the first day. Start catching mahi. That was a big upturn in morale. I actually don't remember how they get saved. Eventually, how's it work? No, they wash ashore is how the thing ends. They land
somewhere in the Pacific.
Somewhere in the Pacific. They get to a place. And people are like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, we just floated here for 100 and some days.
Thank God we had a trimaran.
Good thing they don't sink.
I would hate to be on an island of a trimaran. That sounds horrible to me.
That's the same as, like, the life raft.
Yeah, but bigger.
I can, like, walk up and down it.
There's a comfort in a monohull that when things get shitty, the boat will take care of you.
Yeah.
You don't quite get that with a multihull.
No.
Especially these bare bones, primitive multihulls, which actually, in my opinion, are the better multihulls because they're actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're fast and light, and they're not condomarans.
Okay. Well, I mean, I still feel like, I felt like, as opposed to Tarka, our boat now, which is a monohull, like, I feel like Tarka will take care of us. Like,
Tarka's badass.
Yeah.
She doesn't give a
But in the trimaran, I was like, I better take care of this because this boat's gonna fall apart.
There's also the concern of, like, secondhand plywood boats. Like, who knows how they did it?
Yeah.
So, like, there's some structural issues. Maybe, like, I don't know if the guy or the gal did the fillets the correct way, or maybe the glassing isn't right, or else ours is peeling off.
Yeah.
So, like, with our trimaran, I thought at any point it could just peel apart and become just debris out in the ocean.
Yeah. So did I.
Which is a very fair statement.
So then you still chose to build, like, you had built Scamp, which Scamp is a...
It's a cute little micro cruiser. No, it's a 1111. It's 12 foot.
Okay. 12 foot, like, micro cruiser.
Yeah. It's adorable.
And it was awesome. We sailed it in Alaska. You built it with your
4 or 5 times.
But you should have learned then that I am not into building boats because I didn't help at all with that boat either.
No, I never saw you up there. You're a liar.
So, why didn't you choose something like that this time?
Well, I don't have intention on putting this thing on a trailer. That's my dad's idea. I intend to put this thing on a truck and take it to the beach and build it. And then sail it. And so, like, all the other boats, you have to have a trailer to put them on.
Oh, so you wanted this so that it would just, you could put it on the
Very
your dad's
transportable.
truck.
Yeah.
And then,
And the picture, they have it like on some 1973 Buick.
yeah, which for sure is not
No,
real.
that's not true. That's
Yeah.
bullshit. But anyway, so the idea is that it's transportable and I can take it down to the beach and play with it when I want to. I don't want to have this whole launching procedure and like
Okay,
parking
I
a car
see,
and all
I
that
see.
nonsense.
Okay, I see why.
So yes, I did love Whippersnapper. It's a very cute boat, but I was trying to be practical.
Okay.
And my space that I'm working in, which is a 12x16 Ohana, if you will, with a wraparound deck. It's adorable. You can see the video that at the Port Townsend Boat Show, I do a tour of it.
Plug.
Won't fit a real boat.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And so I had to make 2 half boats and tie them together.
So Spencer had told me about, what's his name? James Wharram?
James Wharram.
James Wharram. Okay. So Spencer had told me he's building a Wharram, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll like look at some footage of him so I can kind of like work it into this video a little bit. And then I came upon this.
Women make wonderful crews because they work very hard, very intelligent, they look nice. If the women are friends with each other, there is no problem. Women cooperate much more easily than men. So if you have 3 women who cooperate with each other, and the man does not try to put power by making one woman special than that, then it works.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to say that he's big in polygamy, but he's definitely.
Is anyone a little bit, or that they're like
You
just
dabble?
dip their toe in
A
like
touch?
that's? I don't know. I
It's
feel
like it's like you bring a third in, but he like brought like in like 6.
yeah.
And
No,
so, like,
that's not dipping a toe
his-
in.
Not claim to fame, but one thing he is known for is like having a harem of women on these boats.
I mean, the things that he was saying in this particular video, I was like, well, this guy is a sexist piece of
Yeah, but he designs a nice boat though. And we can separate the two.
Can we? I mean, I'm going to because
You own
obviously,
one now.
Yeah. Yeah. I did just think it was interesting, like, I mean...
But like I was saying before, this is the ethos of like the early multi-hullers. It was like a very independent, it was
Yeah.
very free love,
Yeah.
it's very hippie. I mean, it was 60, for God's sakes. It was like
Yeah.
Woodstock times.
Right. I mean, which, like, I feel like it's fine. If everybody is, like, consenting adults...
Everybody's on board.
Yeah, then that's literally...
Yeah.
If that's fine. I mean, the way that he spoke about the women wasn't necessarily to my liking.
Maybe a little talking down.
Yes. However, yeah, if everybody's consenting adults, I'm fine with that. It's just...
But if you guys
it
want
was
to
a
see,
little bit shocking
if you want to see a treat, go look at the early brochures because it's like all topless chicks hanging on these boats.
Anyways, that was a bit shocking to me when we initially started the project.
Yes, okay, I understand.
Yes.
So the difference between my catamaran and the traditional catamaran style is that these boats are lashed together, and so they're designed to move with the water as opposed to be, like you said, with the Sea Runner, which is a Jim Brown design, to be rocketing out. These are more loosey-goosey. They kind of flow with the flow.
And that's supposed to make me feel better.
It didn't at all when I was on Whippersnapper. It was terrifying. Yeah, we came into like a 6-foot swell coming into that, whatever the hell that key was out in Belize, and the whole boat just starts doing this, and I was like, was that a thing that should be happening? And apparently it is.
I can't say that I'm
you haven't experienced it. You don't know yet, though. You're going to find out.
But by that idea.
Oh, it's kind of nice, though, because like on our trimaran, it was always trying to bounce out of the water.
Yeah.
And this one just kind of flows with the water. I'm not saying I want to live on these full time, but as like a beach cat or like a fun weekend
it's like
hobby.
if you were to raft together a bunch of logs.
Yeah.
And go on it.
It's like if you take 2 monoholes and put
take
a
a
stick
trash
across
bag
them.
into the wind and just launch yourself off the beach.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's awesome.
I am excited, like when you got the plans. I thought that was really cool.
Alright, we're building a boat! Look at that, Chase. Huh? This is it. I'm gonna throw $3,000 at this. The estimate went up and started at 2.
Yeah, yeah. It started like 1.
I think we're gonna be under 2.
Okay.
There we go. Now we're talking.
It's all the instructions on how to get it together.
Yep, here's your building, Chase. It's gonna look like this. There, little guy. You like that?
I would die on it.
You might.
We'll save you.
Go for jelly.
James Wharram.
Yep, that's the deal. What whole number are we gonna be? 655, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, that's a good number. It's gonna be fun, huh?
Yeah, pretty professional little setup they sent. Not like those scamp jokers. They just sent me a tube with like one piece of paper in it. You stitch the hole all together, and then you take this little skag and shove it in between the pieces, and then you stitch that on. No problem.
When are you going to town?
I can't go to town.
Really, this is nice. I'll give it to you to go shopping. Since we can't go, you just go like this. You hold it.
How's it?
See, and you can see if it's pointed at your face. Kelly, go shopping!
I want the secret one with the little eye.
Oh yeah, with the
Yeah.
the pro pockets.
You guys selling any of those?
That unfortunately was a business endeavor that did not make it.
You know, they don't all make it.
Yeah.
Believe me, they don't all make it. But sometimes you gotta keep trying.
Yeah, I mean.
Think my pillow was a success overnight?
My pillow. Is that what we're going off of?
Yeah.
That's the standard.
That's a good commodity. My pillow. There's no sleep number.
He has commercials during prime time.
Yeah.
No problem, huh?
Mm-hmm. Gonna be fun.
I mean, it's really cool to like take a pile of nothing and make it into a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do it on a large scale. I mean, of course I do, but I'd probably kill myself, and it's a long process. A lot of people have lost their lives. Not that they died, but they socially got divorced and all those things building boats.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a small scale, I think it's really fun.
Wharrams were originally like they don't look. The guy is English, right?
Yeah, he's British.
So, I mean, these are clearly not.
These are Polynesian designs. He took an influence from the early Polynesian rigs. Even the sail plans, I think, really cool. Ours is a Spirit rig, or Spirit. I don't know how to say it. I just read it. But the bigger boats have these like cool like clubfoot gaff things that go up in the air, and they're the sail slides over the mast, so there's no like tracking the sail, and they're very low maintenance and very. It's like that KISS theory, like keep it simple, stupid, or sailor, depending on how you want to go about it. But they're supposed to be low maintenance boats. I would argue against that.
Yeah.
I've worked on a couple plywood boats, and it's painful.
So, how did some British guy get this Polynesian design together?
As a young lad, I was a rock climber and a mountain fell walker in the north of Britain. I also studied in a great library in Manchester, called Manchester Public Library. And at the age of 16, I came across a book written by a Frenchman called Eric de Bishop, who had built an ancient Polynesian double canoe, the first one in Hawaii, and before the Second World War, had sailed it across the Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, back to France. Now, because his family was on the wrong side in the Second World War, they were on the Vichy side, he was written out of history. But he inspired me. After the war, a man called Thor Heyerdahl, a Norwegian, said that the Polynesians didn't have boats which could sail against the wind. So the settlement of the Polynesian islands came from South America by raft. But he never mentioned Eric de Bishop's voyages. So being a romantic young man, I set out to prove Thor Heyerdahl wrong by building a small Polynesian double canoe and sailing it across the Atlantic Ocean, which I did in 1956. 56. And then in the West Indies, I decided I'd learned enough to build a boat based on Polynesian principles. So I started off not thinking of designing boats for other people. I was proving history.
I mean, I paid him $500, so the plans were, I think, like $475, somewhere around there. But
Okay, so
I have
that's
built
the
a
other-
boat in the past without plans, and it's worth paying someone to design it.
Which boat without
Give me
plans? Oh, God.
Yeah, it's a good little
Anybody
boat.
who follows us on Instagram will know Gibnit.
That was one of my finer achievements as a engineer, I think.
We've also talked about this on one of our podcasts, but since this is now a visual podcast that we're doing, I think we should maybe delve into Spencer's background as a boat builder.
Yeah, I mean, it's evolving. We all start somewhere, and Gibnit is where I started. So when we bought Cambio, our steel boat in Guatemala, it was a pile of and so was the dinghy. And it was this two-piece nesting dinghy that we hated putting together. So we broke down in Belize, and we hung out there for longer than we should. We started drinking rum.
Quick rundown.
This is the quickest I can do. We started drinking rum at like 10 in the morning. It was very depressing. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to build us a new dinghy. And so I took to the internet and found this idea of building this. It had a little flat nose on the front. It was stupid. Anyway, they're like, you can build it out of like 2 pieces of plywood. I was like, great. So I got 2 pieces of plywood, and I took all the extra shit in the boat. Without reading how to do any sort of boat work, I started building this boat, and it ended up being terrible. And when we got back to
terrible.
it is terrible. When we got back to Guatemala, we gave it to some guy in the yard, and then 6 years later, I gotta say, man, she held us pretty good.
That is amazing.
I'm still pretty proud of it. Look at it.
They did take off your extended transom.
Yeah, well, half of that broke off the first time we used it, so she's near stock. They haven't, like everything else in Guatemala, they tune up. They like this.
Este barco. Este es de Jaime.
Sí.
Pero él ha hecho este.
Ajá. En Belize.
Es horrible.
Yeah.
Sí, mucho uso acá para
What do they use it for?
lavar lazos.
Oh,
They
to
tie
clean the
down?
lines.
Ajá, para lavar
Oh, clean them. Yeah.
So they don't even use it. No es una barco.
No.
Es una,
Barrel.
yeah. They're like, as a ship it sucks.
Yeah.
But as a giant bucket.
Awesome. And so,
really-
from there, I rapidly evolved in my boat building skills, and I think I'm doing pretty good today.
Yeah, you are. You are. So how expensive do you think that this boat build's going to be? And I keep track of our finances, so
Oh yeah.
I'm
so
excited to see what he's
yeah,
about to
I
say.
quoted it out at $2,000. I think it'll be closer to 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
The price of a good used car.
Okay.
That's concern. I think that'd be okay. I can get in that budget. That'd be alright.
3.5.
Yep.
Just like my 3 hours of help.
Yep. Done deal.
So, I mean, I guess in closing, we just also need to, like, say that we are planning on going back to Tarka. We're not building a boat in Hawaii and, like, just gonna live here from now on.
I want to see you sail this thing off island. That's it, B.
Once all this stuff clears up and borders start opening back up, we'll head back to Tarka and start world cruising. But for now, this is our
life.
plan. Yeah, which I mean is pretty sweet. We're boat building and sailing and living in Hawaii.
It's not too goddamn bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Fries, I really hope that you enjoyed this kind of new vlogging / podcasting. We're calling it visual podcasting.
If you
We're
have a better
coining
name, let us
it.
know.
We're taking it. What'd you say?
If you have a better name, let us know.
You don't. It's a good name.
It's a good name.
You may have noticed that I bleeped out all of the curse words, and I just want to make perfectly clear that it was not due to any of your comments that said that we should not cuss. It was solely due to the fact that somebody told me that the algorithm would not promote us if we cussed.
We're doing it for money.
Yes. Not only that, but our schedule is going to change because these videos clearly, as you have just sat through, are longer and they take more time and there's just a lot more involved in them. But I think they're better and I think that you guys are going to enjoy them more. So since they take so much more time though, we are only going to be putting videos out every other Friday, which is the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month. So just so you guys know. Don't worry, we're not leaving, it's just we're pivoting.
You've been warned. I have a question, and they probably have the same question. Will the podcast still be every week?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked. The podcast will still be every week. The audio podcast will still be every week, which you can get on Spotify and iTunes.
Basically wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Make sure you subscribe to this channel and that you hit the bell for notifications. And with the bell, now they're adding some more to it where you have to like click a different setting in the
Just
bell.
hit all the buttons. You know the buttons you're supposed to hit. Just do it.
Yeah. And make sure you share this video if you liked it. And if it's something you want to see more of, let us know in the comments.
And don't steal this idea. This is our idea.
Don't steal it. Anyone.
Any of you sailors out there, this is our shit.
Yeah.
I saw some other do a drunk tour. I don't appreciate it.
We're upset about it.
Yeah. I didn't take clickbait. That's you. This is us. Rude.
Thanks for watching, Fries. We'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Bye, Fries.
Bye.
Join us next week, Fries, when we delve into the skills it takes to build a boat.